supports are insane. Like they're like right now, supports are at the strongest state they've ever been at. Right now, you can almost like 1v6 and depending on what support you're playing. So do you play a lot of ranked, or you just mostly play quick play?
I don't play a lot of ranked anymore, just because I find that I don't have a set group to play with, and I don't know, I just find it gets pretty toxic out there. Solo he's support.
Yeah, I have no friends, so you know I've never experienced the group playing the game as a group or whatever. You know, I've always kind of been solo. That is a pretty hard counter you're running into. Like, you know, there's a Bastion soldier. That's a lot of DPS to keep your team up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make that an excuse. I'm gonna play my best, but it might take me a few minutes to get back in the group.
I think that's like a wonderful attitude to have, by the way. Like always, like never really making excuses. Like because like even if you do have like legitimate excuses, like you do right now, it's always better to be thinking about how you can be doing better. I think that's one of the key things.
I think for me, like especially because there's really nothing riding on my games. It's all just about having fun. And if I stop having fun, then why am I even playing the game, right?
So like one major thing I would say that I notice is like especially right now, like this is more how the game is right now, is that supports are insane. Like they're like right now, supports are at the strongest state they've ever been at, like, in my opinion. So one thing I'd recommend a lot of people is focus more on doing damage, right? Like focus more on like being that like solo carry, the Jonak or whatever, because I think because like supports right now you can almost like 1v6 and depending on what support you're playing, like you know Batista is one of the best right now.
Right.
You know, so like trying to look for like those aggro moments. You know, like one thing in like a pro level is you rarely ever want to be using your nades defensively.
Okay.
You wanna be like looking for those aggressive nades. Of course, you're gonna be like forced to use defensive nades. Like, I think against the comp here right now, like you're forced to use more defensive nades and defensive nanos. As soon as your teammates see, oh man, these guys are purple, like they just like something triggers in their brain to they start pushing forward, right? So it's like it's a motivator. Good sleep.
I'm just gonna nano.
I mean, I would say that entire sequence of plays was like all very, very like solid, and you hit a huge sleep to start off the fight with on the D.Va, then you needed her. I think she like if you had a better team, like you know you would have gotten that D-Mac there. I think you made the right call by just like nanoing your Genji, even though he wasn't like really going in. Sometimes you have to give your DPS that push, like, hey, we need to do something now. Like we have this advantage.
This is where I feel like you know it doesn't really matter where I can go. It's very hard for me to get any space. They seem to, I mean, they've taken the high ground, so everywhere I am, I'm in their line of sight. And I feel like I can just kind of hang back, but I can't be as aggressive as I normally would be. So how did you then transition from this position to something, like, you kind of need your tanks to push that out?
The second point in Hollywood is, like, very, very tough, and one of the bigger things is that you really do need to be coordinating with your team, the tanks especially. The high ground is so oppressive, so working together to get the high ground is, like, top priority. And you usually just like leave like one person be pushing cart. Like sometimes it can be a support, but yeah, like getting the high ground, like positionally, is just like the best for everybody. So yeah, I definitely think like you can like kind of leave your team. Like, you aren't gone for too long. It's about like a 5 second, you know, 5 seconds where you're not going to be able to see your team, but then you're going to have such a good position where you're going to be able to keep everybody alive.
All right, I'll join team chat for the next one and actually coordinate my team.
Yeah, like my only like I think you played that game. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with what you're doing. I do feel like you could have probably gone for more individual plays, like you know, maybe flanking through like security on first point there to maybe like land a sleep on a tank or somebody high, like you know, high profile, and enabling your team to walk forward a bit more.
So when you guys are putting together a comp, like obviously meta is pretty strong, but are there pairs that you're just gonna never play together?
There's like support combos that just like don't work at all, right? Like, you know, like Lucio and Zen. You know, it worked in Goats because there's also a Brig added in there. But you know, like now because it's Rollock, Lucio, Zen, it's just not enough healing for the rest of your team.
At this level, for the most part, teams just don't fight together.
Yep. That's where like heroes like Ana become a bit more appealing, or Baptiste, because they're much more like they can self-sustain to an extent. Yeah, I think one thing on Baptiste that a lot of like lower ranked players don't really do is like having a proper mix of you know, shooting and healing. I think you're doing like a relatively good job, but yeah, it's like one thing I would say I noticed out of a lot of like lower ranked support players, like they'll only focus on healing, or they might get tunneled on only shooting.
So, like, I know that that's the kind of ult where if I don't feel my team initiating, I'll just throw it down to try and indicate that's where I want to go. But I don't know if that's the right play necessarily. I
don't think that was a bad ult. I think maybe you could have placed it like a little bit more forward, but I think like that logic is like completely reasonable. Like Baptiste's ult is one of the fastest building ults in the game.
Yeah.
So you kind of just want to, you never really want to sit on it for too long. You kind of want to just use it, and if you want to use it to force your team to walk forward, that's great. Like if you feel like they're just like standing around too much.
Okay, so what's your least favorite hero to play?
I probably have to go with like something like Reinhardt, and he seems so like reliant on having like a pretty good team. One thing to keep in mind is that you don't really have much support. Like your Moore is not going to be helping you. Like you can already see him; he's off in the back line. So like, you want to keep that in mind and play a bit more safe further back, maybe, and yeah, focus more on your life, and then pay attention to your like dive DPS. Like your monkey, like he looks like he's about to jump in, so look for what he's going to jump on and discord it for him. Yeah, like this comp, it's going to be really rough for you, but like the way you played it there, I think was, you know, it was good.
So now I feel like I might have to swap because from a defensive position, I feel like I'm always going to be their target with basically 4 divers now.
Yep.
Lucio, if you want to call him that too.
So
I'd probably switch.
I'd say Brig is probably like the best choice if you ever come around here.
But when you're playing Brig, like how much are you saving up your packs? Do you ever let it go to 0?
It depends on what you're playing Brig with, but generally you want to be saving your packs for your DPS and your second healer. Like your goal is mainly to be peeling and enabling. Nice.
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't think it was a clean game, but
yeah,
Paris rarely
that is Paris, yeah.